Hi everybody, I'm Grace Lin, the author and illustrator of all different kinds of books. You might know my picture book, A Big Moon Cake for Little Star, and you might know my novels like Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. Today I thought I would share with you a little bit from the novel that I am most proud of, this one, When the Sea Turned to Silver. One of the reasons why I'm so proud of this book is because this book took me 6 years to write and illustrate. Sometimes I call this book a sequel to Where the Mountain Meets the Moon because there's a lot of characters in this book that are in this book. But it's not exactly a sequel because it doesn't follow Min Lee, the main character in this book. It doesn't follow her story in here, though she is in here, but you have to figure out which character is her. This is actually a kind of a standalone story. It takes place after Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, and it's about a young girl named Pinmei who lives on this mountain with her grandmother. And her grandmother is a famous storyteller, and she is such a famous storyteller that people climb the mountain just to hear her stories. Well, Pinmei and her grandmother hear that a new emperor has come into power, and the new emperor is very brutal and very cruel, and one night the emperor and his soldiers climb the mountain and they kidnap Pinmei's grandmother. Now, everybody knows that the emperor wants something called a luminous stone that lights the night. So Pinmei and her good friend Yishan decide to go and find a luminous stone that lights the night so they can save Pinmei's grandmother. And on the way, Pinmei has to learn how to become as good of a storyteller as her grandmother. So what I thought I would do today is share with you one of the stories from this book. And I thought I would share with you chapter 27. So while Pinmei is going on her journey, Pinmei's grandmother, Ama, is in prison, and she's in prison with a stonecutter. They're both stuck in prison, and this is one of the things that they talk about while they're in prison. "Ah, they feed me much better since you arrived," the stonecutter said, as the dungeon door slammed close. He picked up a bowl of rice and pushed it toward Ama. "A small bowl of rice every other day," Ama said, taking the bowl, "does not seem like good feeding to me." "They used to forget 3, 4 days, sometimes a week," the stonecutter said, "and now they leave a light. It is because of you, of course." "Me?" Ama said, scooping the rice with her cold fingers. "Yes," the stonecutter said, "you misjudge those who honor you. They do not think you can predict the future or save them from catastrophe. They honor you because you are the storyteller." "It does not seem like something that would earn the respect of men such as these," Ama said. "Almost all men respect the storyteller," the stonecutter said. "You can make time disappear. You can bring us to places we have never dreamed of. You can make us feel sorrow and joy and peace. You have great magic." "You flatter me," Ama said. "I do not think I am what you say." The stonecutter laughed. "How can you not be?" he said. "Don't the soldiers treat you as kindly as they can? Are you not covered by a guard's own coat right now?" "How selfish I am," Ama said. "You have been cold much longer than me. You should have this coat." "The guard gave it to you, storyteller," the stonecutter said. "Keep it. Instead, give me another story." "Very well," Ama said. "What kind of story would you like?" "Tell me a story about eating something delicious," the stonecutter said, "so I can imagine I am eating something other than plain rice." So this is the story of the stolen bite of peach. Emperor Zhu was called the Son of Heavens because he was indeed somehow related to the immortal Queen Mother of the Heavens. And even though the relation must have been distant, the Queen Mother still looked upon him with great favor. For his 60th birthday celebration, the Queen Mother came. A full chariot pulled by unicorns burst from a cloud and descended. The thousands of acrobats, singers, dancers, and guests froze at a shocked standstill. However, while the light of the stars on the Queen Mother's crown were brighter than all the lanterns combined, it was the peach she held in her hand that everyone stared at. "Zoo," the Queen Mother said, "your character is too flawed for me to grant you immortality, so instead I bring you this peach of longevity. This peach will grant you 999 more years of life. I hope with these extra years you will be able to merit immortality." All, including the emperor, sank to the floor in deference, and one of the queen's companions had to nudge a servant to rise in order to take the peach. As the emperor stammered his gratitude, the Queen Mother nodded to him and gave the sea of bowed heads a glance of acknowledgement. Then the unicorns reared and leaped, and she and her entourage disappeared back into the sky. For a moment, the emperor and his guests could only stare up at the heavens. If it were not for the peach, all would have doubted the reality of the Queen Mother's visit. But the glorious golden peach was casting a warm glow. The emperor, already licking his lips, waved his hand for the peach to be brought to him. The crowd parted and watched in hushed silence as the trembling servant carried the peach as if leading a procession. The sweet fragrance wafted through the air like an intoxicating wine, and it was not only the emperor's mouth that watered. But just as the peach was almost within arm's distance of the emperor, someone broke through the mesmerized crowd and grabbed it. After a brief stunned moment, the emperor barked an order, and the guards clamored. They swarmed upon the attempted thief, who collapsed to the floor. But with him fell the peach. It rolled on the floor toward the emperor, and all gazed in horror as they saw that a bite had been taken out of it. For while the moment of shock had been short, it had been long enough. The golden skin of the peach had been torn open, and where a chunk of flesh was now missing, a sweet, sticky juice was dripping like crystal beads gliding off of a string. The emperor would not take the first bite of his peach. Enraged, the emperor had the thief brought before him. To everyone's surprise, it was a magistrate who was distantly connected to the emperor by marriage. By all accounts, he was well liked, but all favor had disappeared with the bite of the peach. "How dare you take a bite of my peach?" the emperor roared. "I shall have you executed." "Forgiveness, your exalted majesty," the magistrate said, prostrating himself. "But if I have eaten from the peach of longevity, how can I be killed?" "Fool," the emperor said, "you have stolen some extra years of life, but you are not invincible. That bite of peach may protect you from sickness and age, but you can still be killed." "Ah," said the magistrate, who, contrary to the emperor's words, was not a fool. "But that peach was given to you by the Queen Mother to give you time to become worthy of immortality. Do you think she would be pleased if the first thing you do upon receiving it is to order me to my death?" At that, the emperor hesitated, for there was truth in his words. He grunted with annoyance. It occurred to him that he had yet to eat his peach, and that he should consume it before any more disasters occurred. "Just take him away," the emperor thundered, "and bring me my peach." And so the official was taken away, and the emperor finally received his peach. And while the emperor ate it with much delight, even he must have wondered how much sweeter the peach would have been if he had gotten the first bite. But But Emperor Zhu did not live an extra 999 years, the stonecutter said. He was the last of the Min emperors killed by the soldiers of Emperor Shang. Well, that just proves Emperor Zhu was right, Amma said. The peach could keep him from getting old or sick, but he could still be killed. Even immortality is not invincibility. That's true, the stonecutter said. I wonder what happened to that official. Executed later, do you think? I don't know, Amma said. I wonder how many extra years that official stole with that one bite, the stonecutter said, laughing, as he brought the rice bowl to his face. Perhaps he is alive still and wishes he had taken another bite. Perhaps, Amma said, but she did not laugh as she swallowed her rice. So, that was a chapter from my book, When the Sea Turned to Silver. I hope you liked it, and I hope you get a chance to read the rest of it. One last thing, I just wanted to let you know about my new podcast, Kids Ask Authors. It's a podcast where a guest author and I answer one kid question. And at the end of each episode, there's a kid book review, a kid poem, a kid joke, even a kid short story. So you can submit your own jokes, your own book reviews, your own poems to kidsasauthors.com, and hopefully we'll play it on the podcast. And at kidsasauthors.com, you can also listen to the podcast yourself. Thanks so much.